But right now, we would want to cross over to the Information Ministry for some update on today's COVID-19 regular briefings that the ministry would bring to us. Let's go there now for today's briefing.
This morning, there are 3 quick briefs we want to take. We'll take one from the Ghana Health Service, updating us on our latest numbers, and particularly the daily increase. Remember the last time we engaged, we talked about the fact that the average, or the 7-day moving average, was somewhere around 250, was going to 300, and we were all worried about the possible consequences. So they'll give us the latest numbers with particular emphasis on the average daily increase and what it portends for us. There's also a new directive on the cost of tests that needs to be clarified, and they will be doing that for us this morning. The Ghana Education Service, as advertised, is also here with us this morning. Professor Kwesi Opokwa-Mankwa, Director General, is here. He's here with Dr. Kwabna Tando, who is Deputy Director General, Quality and Access. They are here this morning, but Prof will be speaking to us about the reopening of schools and their early monitoring. You recall again, the last time we spoke, we mentioned that it was necessary for them to do the opening and then the monitoring so that they would know what is going on and how they are handling it. So he's here to give the country an update this morning. The Ghana Police Service is also here with us this morning. As advertised, they've been, since update number 22 by His Excellency the President, they've been doing a number of things to ensure higher levels of compliance. Superintendent Mrs. Sheila Abeye Bachman, Director of Public Affairs, is here with us, and she'll also give us an update. Maybe she'll go back and tell us all they've been doing from March before the current specifics. So good morning once again and welcome. I want to start off with some quick comments, and then I will go to the Ghana Education Service to give us their brief first. The government of Ghana wishes to thank the Ghanaian public for its cooperation during the activities commemorating the final funeral rites of former President Jerry John Rawlings. In particular, we note the public's compliance with the COVID-19 preventive etiquette and the public's heed to the call to, as much as possible, follow the events virtually, which resulted in the avoidance of large crowds at the event. Government also commends the media for your cooperation, your professionalism, and your in-depth coverage during the activities. No doubt your extensive coverage and analysis contributed to the public's ability to comply and still follow everything that happened. And so we want to thank you and thank the Ghanaian public, and we look forward to some more partnerships in the future. Perhaps I'll take that one in 3 quickly, and then we'll move on to the other briefs. Anope, aban ebo Ghana fo nyina abaso se nhyehyɛ a yɛde too hɔ ɛfa yɛma mpanin dada Jerry John Rawlings na yiyɔ ɛho no moboa ma yɛtumi edi so titiriw wɔnom a Eba Independence Square ne Accra International Conference Center COVID-19 bambo nhyehyɛ yɛ nyina no ɔmo di so krogyen ɛma yɛn na yɛda ɔmo ase yɛsan so da mo ase sɛ abra aban tufo sɛ ɛbɛyɛ a trafie na hwɛ ɛwɔ TV so no nipa dodoɔ na ɛde yɛ adwuma nti yɛn hu sɛ be nipa abɔdɔm pema boro so ɛwɔ baabi a yɛyɛ nneɛma ne nyinara Central for so abansan bɔ ma ba so sɛ nhyehyɛ yɛde gu hɔ nyinara modi so mo hwɛ yɛ mo adwuma no ne mpɛmpɛn so a na edi mu pa na mutumi ɛbɔ dewro titiri mu a na mo yɛ live ne ade mutumi bɔ dewro kyerɛkyerɛ ne mamu ma obi ɔte fie hwɛ kra no na onyane yie hwɛ wɔ fie nti ɛho hia sɛ ɔbɛ ba conference center na sɛ Independence Square yɛda mo ase na yɛhwɛ anim sɛ I want to invite the Director General of the Ghana Education Service, Professor Kwesi Opokwa-Mankwa, to give us an update on the reopening of schools and how they have been managing the issues that have come out since then. Prof, good morning and welcome.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is the first time we're meeting in this year, so Happy New Year, Afrishiapa. We want to give you some briefing on what has happened so far since school reopened about 2 to 3 weeks ago. We may all recall that way back in March last year, the president announced the closure of schools. And this affected about 9.2 million children in private and public schools at the pre-tertiary level, and then about 500,000 of our educational workers. When the president announced the closure, he also indicated to us that we should find alternative ways of engaging students whilst they are at home. So we worked with the Ministry of Communication, Ministry of Information, we worked with our development partners, and we developed online radio, TV programs for people to engage in some form of learning, what we call distance or remote learning. Then in June 2020, the president announced the phased reopening of schools. There was a need for final years in JHS 3 and final years in SHS 3 to go to school and finish up with their examinations. Subsequently, in October, schools were also reopened for second years of SHS and JHS as well. In the course of it, the president indicated to us that all things being equal, schools will be reopened in January 2021. So we got ourselves ready for that. And in January 2021, specifically starting from 15th of January, we drew up a program for school reopening, and 15th and then also 18th of January. And so school reopened. President also directed that there should be spraying of all educational institutions, and we should also provide PPEs for all schools and all students and staff, both private and public. Now, as part of the reopening, as I've indicated, we disinfected all schools. We had our Veronica buckets, soaps, sanitizers, tissue papers, that is the wash facilities provided for all schools. We have our reusable face masks. We also indicated that there will be no mass gathering on school campuses, no sporting activities and sporting events. Dining hall will be attended in batches for senior high schools, boarding students, and then no outside activities. We've taken a couple of steps to ensure that the school reopening goes on smoothly. We have prepared what we call guidelines for school reopening, and we have distributed them. And the guidelines is on COVID-19. We worked on this with the collaboration of Ghana Health Service and our development partners to ensure that we have that guideline. We also have done what we call the Recovery Learning Guideline, Students have stayed home for about 9 months, almost 10 months. And there was a need for us not to immediately go into the normal way of learning, but to have what we call recovery learning. For example, if you take the routine way of going to school, students wake up sometimes around 4 o'clock, 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning, and they start their day, and then they come late in the evening. During the 9 months, some of them wake up around 10 in the morning, 12. They have their own different ways of spending the day. So if they are coming back to school, then there will be some level of trauma, there will be some level of anxiety, and things like that. So we need to find a way of orienting them into the new school system. Whilst at home, they may be watching the program that we put online and on TV and radio, but the form of learning that they are doing is an unstructured form of learning. They pick and choose the things that they need to do. But in school, you do what we call structured learning. There's a timetable that you have to follow and all that. And for 9 months, they've not done that. So there was a need for us to find a way of reintegrating them back into school. So part of the school recovery is to ensure that they go through these processes for them to come up to speed with the normal school life. We've also done a number of back-to-school campaigns. We launched an official back-to-school campaign at Manchiagbuena to educate, inform, and get people to know that schools are reopening. We have also, last week, visited schools as part of the International Education Day, the UN International Day for Education, all trying to get people to get back to school. We're working with Ministry of Information, Ministry of Health, to run a couple of adverts and programs on air to also educate people on the back to school, and especially the do's and don'ts as far as school reopening is concerned. As part of ensuring that we abide by the protocols, we've also worked with Ghana Health Service to do what we call school mapping. We've mapped out all our schools to various health centers and health facilities across the country. Said that whenever there's any issue, even beyond the COVID, the schools have been told where to go for some health support. We have trained about 52,000 of our key staff, the school health education program key staff, who work with Ghana Health Service to ensure that they also subsequently provide education to our teachers and then also to the students. We've also worked with Ghana Health Service to set up what we call task force, the health COVID response task force in our schools, to ensure that when an issue comes up, they will know how to address that. And as I indicated much earlier, we're working in collaboration with our development partners, UNICEF, DFID, USAID, World Bank, etc. They are supporting in various efforts, giving us various supports to ensure that we move on closely. Now, by way of update on the PPEs that have been provided so far, we planned, the program was that since this time around we are running a whole year program, we're going to give PPE, the face masks, we're going to give 2 each. We're going to give 2 each for the semester or for the term. And then subsequent semesters and terms, we will continue to do that. So far, if you look at the table that is out there, these are the things that we have supplied to the schools. For if you look at sanitizers, you realize that it appears twice. We have hand sanitizers, and then we have gallon hand sanitizers. For the KGs, we decided that they were not going to get their individual or personal sanitizers. If you put those things in their hands, you may not be sure what they can use them for. So rather, we provide them in gallons, and then their teachers will put them in dispensers and then dispense to them when the need arises. In our special schools, we have also provided electronic dispensers. And then we have also provided face shields for the special schools and then for the KG, both the teachers and their staff. And we want to take the opportunity to actually thank parents. The distribution took a while, and whilst we were doing that, we were encouraged by the response that parents and also all students of the various schools and various other people in our communities contributed to providing some of these PPEs into the schools. Now, the next important assignment for us is to constantly monitor the schools and see how well they are doing. So come next week, as we did in the previous reopening, we're going to have teams from the national, from the regional, and the district levels to go around to monitor and pick out the issues as and when they come. And these teams at all levels include Ghana Education Service, Ghana Health Service, our local assemblies, and then our various staff at all the levels to ensure that we are able to do a thorough monitoring and give a good evaluation and resolve the issues as they come up. We also want to draw attention to the fact that the home learning support, the online, the Ghana Learning TV and radio are still working, and we will ask parents to encourage their wards to also go online or watch those programs or listen to them to support their learning whilst they are at home. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll pause here, and then we continue with discussions or questions as they come up.
Prof, thank you. I know you can't go through the entire presentation in the local languages, but if you could just give us a quick summary and highlights in Chi, we'll be pleased, before we take questions for you, and then you can.
Let say afimu yesimu enani da edikanya minimu nyina mu Asia nti mama Africa pa beye mribi atwa beye bosumi nkron ni esa Covid-19 aban tutu esukuu mu na edu mribi na ebehiase ebebue ma nkwara na tumi akọ oma na omkoye nsohwe no ti ebue ma omkoye nsohwe omomudi omachi no nso ebue ye from 24 almost koye ekosua ade kakra aban hihye mu no nso kam yete se yedu afefoforo no mu a yedu January a obepese de tipa bia na yede niam betoto akwan mu mankwara no atumi akosku nti ampara eno nso di so ode niam toto akwan mu ema yebue school nti 15th January ena yema SHS 4 koye SHS form 2 form ye gold and a form 3 for enyina sisi ayekase omunyina wo school na 18 January and omo maka ni nyina so fi kg ekokopem from JHS for so koy na ansa no mo abekọ no nhihye ya to ho a ebue school edikan ye ebue school etosum yenu ye ne se aban ma yekọ bo school no nyina duro school bia ese ebue bia fi class 1 ya fi kg ya ekokopem university babia yakobo mu aduro de beya se covid mu awani bi wo ho no mu ana se obi so de bi ba ho no ma na che se etumi abre na se kakra man eno akiri no nso enema putoka sem yesi PPEs no nso ye pay bi yesi de ma school for no ye mo buckets Veronica buckets ye mo samina ye de ohru yensa samina no nsuo de ani bi ye mo sanitizer there's some the form so ye mo paper so ye you are the paper on sa ho na ye mo thermometer guns ene de akeka ho nyina face masks ni nyina ye de bi mo afi ye nhihye mu ne ye ne se face masks no ye be ma obia mienu esan se ye bue school na ye be ko school for afi ni nyina efi January ye be wie afi no school afi no na chese ye wo December nti face masks no omko bia ye be ma omu bi se ye se ye ma omu mienu ye di kind de edi kind no ko fi be 7th February na enema san so ko no na asan so ato asoko ye san so ye nhyehyɛ kakra school no omko ye ma omkwan ma omunkodi agro ye omunkambo mu bebre omkotumrika no ne ball sem ne ade boarding school for no omadidie no ya yese omuncheche nipa no na omunko no ebi kwa ekire na ebi nso akọ nkakra akra no nyame adom omudi so emayen conference fi abonten ema meye niema ewo school mu hono mo nti eno nso ye nhyehyeye a ye ena yesan so etintim krata ekire niema esese ye di so de ese ye ene de esese ye eno ye ne Ghana Health Service for ene ye development partners ene ye trans ne etintim krata no krata edi kan no yes guidelines for school reopening no ebi ne no so ye de akwakoma school for ni teacher for ni nyina ene omo hwe teacher for so regional directors ne district directors no chese omo de eye adwuma ye san so tintim krata ba akubia no so ye frɛ no recovery learning on kwara no kwatena fie no bibiri wo ho no mo a eniema no omru afifi obi wo ho a ya ko school said ye yakoye a obi wo ha be no nan ana no num ne anyane no ansa ne ye de wa school na wabobo ho akọ school amko fie bi tumi tra TV ho a bia be ye no donko ana no mi na fe na no wada nti obesoro na be no ndukra abapa ho nti seba ne sa so obe school na afi o sama na be ye de no oye ne nkan na ya na edin kakra nti ye no ye ne kakra akra church om ne ma om betumi aye na omo sorry mu ne adesa obiso ho no ma omusua de fe otifia timetable bi ani ho sesi obe school timetable wo ho ne ye sesa de adesua ne ade ya na etumi de ohaw ne ade ebre nkwara no nti sa ne ma ne nyina no ya ye ho ya titim ho krata de akoma ya teacherfo na omo hwe na omo ne nkwara no aye eno so emse nkan no ma fa nkyere eno so nie nti eno so ewa hasen ye sanso ne omo a ye ni omo boy me aye adwuma na Ghana Health UNDP no ne omo keka UNESCO no ne ade nyina ye bomu ye de efre no back to school campaign ma ye cheda ko pa hontoma ewo manchi agbo na eno na chire no so ye my first day at school nkwara be ye mpem ahansia etifia na chese omunko school afi na adom so se se omunko school e bi afi na okọ KG ana afi na okọ class 1 omunyina no na ehia se omo ba school fufuro ya onnim se na school mu sitie na ono so kra nti anye yie no ne covid aba be hia no na se ye pekwan bi so a ye be ma omani age school no ho na nkoye se okọ ba akopa ade achi o se me nkobio nti eno nso ye bo ho daru ye sanso wo ne ma ya emre so no ebeba TV so any radio so ne ade a ye daru ebema nkwara no atumi atena school mu hono mo amaye enema no bia ye nso ne se ye ne Ghana Health for eka bomu ma ye secondary school no titru omu nyina ya kire omba bia se nyame fasa ma se yare biba ana yare titru bia ba na school no entumi nso na ya na school no omo wo infirmary ana so omo wo sick bay ho ba bi wo ma na ebro omo so ya kire ba bia school kra ese bibi saba odi omukọ ye nkyerɛkyerɛ edema ye teacherfo be ye impim aduonum mienu ewo ɔman no mu nyinaa na ɔmo kyerɛkyerɛ nneɛma yɛse yɛ ne nneɛma yɛse yɛ no ɔmo nso akyerɛkyerɛ ɔmo nuanom ne ade yɛwɔ ekubi a yɛfrɛ no shep ewo yɛ hɔ no mo school health education program ɔmo na ɔmo hwɛ saa nneɛma no so ewo yɛ school mu nti ɔmo yɛakyerɛkyerɛ ɔmo saa akwan no nyinaa ɔmo didi so yɛne UNICEF USAID World Bank DFID ene saa akua kɛseɛ saa no yɛne ɔmo nyinaa nso ɛka bom ne yɛyɛ nneɛma a yɛkan ɔmo taa yɛkyi na ɔmo boa yɛ wɔ akwan bebree so so yɛhwɛ yɛ table no so yɛbɛhu nneɛma a sese yɛakɔkyekyɛ deda no yɛbɛtumi ahu bi ba face mask a yɛama bɛyɛ ɔfefipidu 10 million hand sanitizers no yɛkyɛ mu mmienu ne sɛ nkwaraa paa no kg4 no ɔmo deɛ sanitizer na yɛde obiara nsa bɛka ne deɛ no yɛma ɔmo bi saa wode ma na wanhwɛ yi a na nyame mfa saa ma ebia na wakɔ akɔnom anaa wɔde akɔyɛ biribi a ɛnsɛ sɛ ɔde yɛ nti no yɛnhyehyɛeɛ no sɛ ɔmo deɛ ne deɛ yɛde gu toa kɛseɛ mu ne yɛde ama ɔmo teacherfoɔ no na ɔyɛ a na ɔmo miemie gu ɔmo nsɛm nkakra yɛ schools na yɛfrɛ no special schools no nso ɔmo deɛ no ɛyɛ deɛ electronic deɛ ɔmo deɛ no yɛ special yɛ electronic one a yɛmia ɛde gu ɔmo nsɛm ɛna ɔmo nso school special school ne kg4 no teacherfoɔ no ɛne ade no ɔmo nso yɛama ɔmo shield a ɔmo tumi ɛde hyɛ ɔmo anim na kyerɛ sɛ ɔmo kyerɛ adeɛ na aboa ɔmo ɛwɔ ɛkwan bebree so yeah sese deɛ na wɔtwe a yɛba bɛsi mu deɛ yɛba bɛyɛ ne sɛ yɛbɛkɔ important bɛkɔ school mu nyinaa yɛfi yɛn a yɛwɔ nkran a yɛwɔ national headquarters ɛne ɔmo wɔ regional ɛne ɔmo wɔ district ne nyinaa no yɛbɛkɔ na afei yɛakɔhwɛ sɛ nneɛma a yɛde atoto akwan mu no obiara ɛdi so anaa ahokyerɛ bɛn na ɛwɔ hɔ ɛdeɛ mmoa na yɛbɛtumi de aboa ɛdeɛ yɛbɛtumi ne ɔmo adi ho nkɔmmɔ ne yɛahwɛ sɛ biribiara ɛbɛkɔ so wano nti yɛbue school na meka no sɛ yɛyɛ my first day at school no yɛdi ka ayɛ akɔ round ahwehwɛ nanso ɛsiane sɛ school no ɔmbɛkɔ no ma akyɛ kakra nti no ɛwɔ mu a bɛyɛ na wɔtwe anaa na wɔtwe mmienu biara no ne akɔhwɛ deɛ ɛkɔ so ɛwɔ hɔ no mu yɛn directors no ne adeɛ no nso yɛayɛ sɛ ɔmo nhwɛ na ɔmo fɔm ani ni schools no so ne yɛhwɛ sɛ deɛ ɛkɔ so biara no sɛ biribi wɔ ho a yɛ sɛ atɔ kyema yɛ sɛ yɛbɔ akyire ne abɔ akyire yɛsan so akae mo sɛ online na yɛyɛ no ne radio ne TV no ɛda ho wɔ hɔ nti no yɛbɛsrɛ sɛ awofoɔ bɛma yɛnkwaraa no ɔmatumi ahwɛ no nso anaa ɔmatie na ɔmode aka deɛ yɛ ɔmokɔ school akɔsua no ho na ma memfa ɛkwan yi so na menna kama ema ɔmo de kɔɛ yɛhu sɛ yɛ secondary school no titiriw ɛno nso bɛhwɛ na ɔmo old boys old girls old students ɔmo nso kɔkɔboaeɛ yɛahemfo ɛne nipa no bebree ɛboaeɛ yɛhu sɛ adeɛ no sɛ yɛn nyinaa yɛanka mmom a yɛntumi nko no nti nhyehyɛeɛ a yɛn nyinaa yɛayɛ no ɛne sɛ ne yɛn nyinaa yɛde yɛahoɔden aka ho no ɛyɛ adeɛ a ayɛ ani so nti yɛda mo ase sɛ bibia akoso wano amaye.
Prof, thank you. I think you did the whole presentation again in cheese. You've covered all the bases. So, Prof, thank you. As you take your seat, we'll take all the questions together at the end. I want to move to the security part of the brief. You will recall that His Excellency the President instructed the Inspector General of Police and announced same to ensure that his men and women step up enforcement of the mask-wearing mandate. This morning, Superintendent Mrs. Sheila Abiyi Bachman, Director of Police Public Affairs, will give us a quick update from the Ghana Police Service. Sheila, welcome. So what have you been doing so far, and what is the result like?
Thank you, Honorable. Good morning once again, colleagues, Afishapa, to those that we haven't met, and to listeners and viewers, greetings from the Inspector General of Police and from everyone else. So, since the directive on 17th of January this month, I'll give you information related to that. But let me start from enforcement by police from last year. So I'll give you information related to enforcement by police from sometime in April 2020 to the 17th of January 2021. And then the results of our enforcement from the 18th of January up to, say, right now. And then what next steps we will take. So prior to the update number 22, where His Excellency the President directed IGP to direct his police officers to ensure rigorous enforcement of mask wearing at all public places. This is what had happened. A total of 222 cases involving 1,584 people had been arrested. You know that restrictions was not only on mask, but for other things. So out of these numbers, we sent 453 of the persons to court, and then 237 of them were acquitted. 144 were granted bail by courts. 70 were convicted to serve various punishments, including fines, and 2 on bench warrant, which they were still looking for them. So what is of most importance to you and interest to you is about what has happened since 18th of January to now. Basically, what we have been doing, sensitization, and in rare cases, arrest. So with this, we have arrested a total of 961 persons. Accra has the highest number of suspects arrested. I told you that what we're doing is sensitization, and in rare cases, we have to arrest. So, and we are guided by the signs of the coronavirus and which regions are recording high and all. So, Accra region has the highest of 330 out of the 961. Out of these 961 persons arrested, we had to give verbal caution to 484 people who were discharged. And then we had to give written caution to 477 of these persons, and we have granted them bail. These were done after they were all made to wear their mask and do so properly. Now, what is going to happen, or what is happening now? We are still on the sensitization, and in rare cases, we'll arrest. So we are starting the enforcement from home, which is among police personnel and our clients. So IGP has instructed, and it is mandatory, actually, for all police officers and civilians who work, visit, or are invited to police stations, police officers, police schools, and barracks to wear their face mask always and for as long as they remain at these premises. And that must be done in addition to all COVID-19 protocols, including regular disinfection of police establishments. So all divisional commanders have been given at least one sprayer, knapsack sprayer, either motorized or manual, to assist with this regular disinfection, in addition to what the government has been doing for us with Zoom Lion and others. And also at the headquarters level, we have the public health in our estates, which have a number of them who would have to go around regularly to disinfect. And so to commanders who are not doing that, this is a call for you to do it, because the monitoring team will start moving. And we have been engaging with regulators and operators. Various police departments, regions, directorates, and units engage. So for instance, let me use the MTTG as an example. transport operators, transport owners, at the lorry stations. We have been engaging them. And particularly in the municipal and district assemblies, we have started engaging to see how they can activate their bylaws to ensure enforcement of the wearing of masks as their bylaws permit, specifically to the regions. And we hope to see results soon. We have been visiting public places randomly. So when we come to an open bar, for instance, and we notice that you are not ensuring COVID protocols, we lock you up. And for those of you who report from the ground, I'm sure you have a few cases you have already reported. But the next step that we are going to take, we are going to have random stop and search on vehicles across the country. So you could be traveling from Tamale to Accra, or you could be traveling from Ho to Hohoi, or wherever, Kwamai to Kumewu, or you could be traveling from Medina to Adenta. It could be a commercial vehicle, most especially, but it can also be private vehicle. For as long as we see 2 or more people on the vehicle, any police officer in uniform can stop you, look at whether you're wearing your mask properly. If not, you will be brought down. And if the driver is wearing properly, the passengers who are wearing their mask properly will be made to go. Until you find your mask and adorn it well, you cannot board the next vehicle. So please, let us all get on board and preach the good news of wearing the mask to ensure that we stop coronavirus. Repeat offenders. So you see that we have already recorded 961 from just 18th January alone. And then previously, we recorded 1,000 and over people. If we arrest you in this next step, and we realize that you are a repeat offender, you will leave us with no choice than to find a provision under the law to prosecute you. Now, let me make a special appeal. The IGP wants to make a special appeal to the public, to the media, and human rights advocates especially, to join efforts in reaching out to the masses to wear their face masks at all times at public places to protect all from contracting the deadly COVID-19 disease. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheila. Before you take your seat, if you can just give us a summary in tree. You don't have to go through the whole thing, just a summary in tree. 961 and other matters. So
in summary, Ansana President Sayashe Munim say last year 2020, and a President She Mra say police for yanko round na ensure say coronavirus protocols no enti no a free April mu ho e di besi memfa ne 17th January no e na mebeka ne say part 1 sam renim no enipa dodo a ye che omo for various offenses ye say menya sorry no akobi sorry and share mask na she ne yie wan she MBA school no abie san crofo na ye che omo ni nyina no na 1584 e wo Ghana fa na nyina san crofo yi bi o ho a ye yan hwehwe mu no ye wo ne omo ja omo nanso so ye the 453 and the court sam renimu across the country and as 453 na e di omo court no court ankasa e ma bail to 144 enipa dodo a court bu omo fo 70 and afei enipa court jai omo acquittal 237 na nipa 2 bi dey edru so omo court na omo amanti omo nso no bench warrant enti yenka emehwe 17 January a president san share IGP say jumana medidi medema wo no munhye mu ken na mundi ne yie na dan na asi e free samre no ni ayaye ne say ye akyerɛkyerɛ ye ne mo media titiu call marketplaces mo kavabi ye ne akyerɛkyerɛ na idea nim nanso so ye hwe omo aso eden a na wo se ye kye omo efise bi mu wo ha kasa omo tia ne se police akye omo san crofo ni nyina no wo hwe oman yi mu a nipa ya kye ye 961 na ne edoso wo mpa nkran ha nkwan ya kye 330 uko Eastern region ya kye 137 nti breakdown ne de mo regional reports na megidi se mo benya nti ne AC ni se enkyerɛkyerɛ ene engagement ahodo na yeye efiri se coronavirus ye yare asem sani prof eka school die sani media moye mo die no eno nti no regulators to say about beacher ye Ghana tourism board wo ho there are several other authorities I ne omo ye adwuma about districts ni municipal la districts and regional and divisional commanders no ene omo gusu dinkita ho hye say omo wakwanya bi a omo nsutimi ye bylaws bi etimi bua ema echeki enema bi a related to sanitation and health omo mfa omani nko ho omo ma omo lawyer for enhwe no omo mfa omani nko ho na ye nhwe kwan a bylaws nso so ye betimi akeke na specific to the districts and as municipalities no omo betimi aye bibia ebeboa ma police aye enforce ewo ho enti mo amudu su di mudi dwuma so to say moko bus stops ne ade a GPRT for any progressive for no me yeda mo ase mo nkoso anye yeguso yes engagement no e wo honso a random visit to public places mumu bi wo ha me sure say mo adi yanchi e wo across the region akọ to say bi aba enye open ne de eni se obie president na ahye samra no na say ye open a akwanya wo ho se obie nanso se wo se udi coronavirus nhihye ne so enti say ye ba na yehu say ye open space nanso so mutiti bom mo mask no munhye ne ye mo amuni hand wash stations ne ade you leave us with no choice na ya tum enti ebi mo ho ya tum yenim so mo na media for so kasa enso so ye betum ye bekoso aba round ye ba public place ne ehwe na wunni nhihye ne so a en sa anamon yi ye tiny regulators no na etu enti regulators and operators ni bia wo hia police you go to the nearest police commander no aka kire no na ya boa na ya ye apart from say yankasa ye to anamon na nia e ba be say ne say ya be ya bibia friend random stop and search regions ni bi o ha e bia na our experiences o ma start but we be nationwide bebia ye be hu say car enam titu commercial vehicles se nipa mienu miensa eko enatimo a police ni a o hye uniform men kan sisu dia say police ni a o hye uniform or perform duty bia say ye highway patrol say ye traffic management say ye me kasa na me nampo na me hia no ye betimi agina wo na ya hwe say nipa atim no obi a hye ne mask ni yie sene a doctor for na church ya na aban church ye say ye nhya na de on hye bi no ye be unesi form just a wa pe bi a hye ansa na watoa na kwantuo ni so